What words of wisdom have always stuck with you? The grass is greener where you take care of it. If you punish them for telling the truth, you teach them to lie. I've always told my kids, if you lie to me, you'll get in trouble twice. Once for what you did and once for lying about it. Just be honest and answer up for what you did. Hopefully it'll teach them there's always a consequence for your actions. But it'll always be worse if you lie about your actions. Comparison is the thief of joy. I think about it usually once per day and remind myself to judge my life against my past and only look forward. Other people think about that at least twice per day. You can be the ripest, yummiest, juiciest peach and there will still be people in the world who don't like peaches. Or you can be the grossest, most rotten peach ever, and there will always be a sicko who's into that. Your wound is probably not your fault, but healing is your responsibility. Further to this, if you don't heal your wounds, you're going to bleed on people who didn't cut you. Afterwards, your scars aren't proof that you're broken, they're proof that you've healed. If they gossip with you, they'll gossip about you. Let them gossip. Life is too short to waste on worrying about stupid shit. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. I've always liked the adage. The difference between a master and a novice is that the master has failed more times than the novice has even tried. If you're going to eat shit, don't nibble it. As an introvert, I sometimes agree to do things with friends but then dread actually doing it when the event comes up. This saying helps me realize once I commit to something I should embrace the experience 100%, without thinking of backing out. Be cowy of this thought process. I have had some great experiences I would have otherwise bailed on. There's a variation of that saying from Zig Ziglar that I love. If you're going to have to swallow a frog, you don't want to have to look at it for too long because it ain't getting any prettier. People are not against you, they are for themselves. Edit. Thanks. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Motherfucking Jean-Luc Picard. Just because we don't have anything important to talk about, doesn't mean the time we spend together isn't meaningful. I found this out when I came home from college to hang out with my brother. We wanted to make up for lost time and spend every minute together. But we ran out of things to talk about pretty quickly. It turns out, walking down the street and catching Pokémon is just as fulfilling as having a deep conversation. All that matters was that we were spending time with one another. I once worked with a guy for 3 years and never learned his name. Best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes. Ron Swanson. My father's lesson to me about personal finance when I was in my early teens. If your outgo is more than your income, then your upkeep will be your downfall. My therapist regarding my confusion about my ex's behavior. Stop trying to make sense of something that will never make sense. From a guy in a class that never said a word. When asked why he never talked, I find that I learn very little when I'm the one talking. Edit. To add regarding the third item. Holy crap, I can't believe the amount of feedback. And it's all been really interesting to read. The man that said this is retired and in his 70s, maybe 80s by now. This was several years ago. He is open and personable in one-on-one conversations and in small group conversations and always provides good input, which was why so many others found it odd that he didn't speak much. This comment was made during a large group study class at church. His point was simply that when he recognizes an opportunity to learn, he listens intently. I have held on to that phrase because I tend to talk when I should listen. And I need to remember that balance is important. Greater than I find that I learn very little when I'm the one talking. Just found the best thing to say when people ask me why I'm so quiet. I find no one plans a murder out loud to be quite effective if the circumstances call for it. I feel like I'd mess this one up. You're always so quiet. Yeah, gonna murder you. So, it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Aristotle. Keep it simple, stupid. Great advice. Hurts my feelings every time. Edit. Holy hell, this blew up. I feel obligated to thank Dwight Schrute for this piece of comedy gold. P.S. Thanks for the Reddit gold. I promise I didn't just flip my yogurt lid over. Don't be an idiot. Changed my life. Every time I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing. The difference between expectations and reality is disappointment, and sometimes annoyance, anger. So when you are feeling disappointed, take a step back and ask the following questions. Asterisk, were my expectations too high? Am I the problem? Which is typical the root cause? Asterisk, were the situations not what I expect? Was my original view, assumptions wrong? Asterisk, did the other party try? Asterisk, did the other party even know the expectations? Asterisk, did the other party have the same standards? Asterisk, could I have done something so the other party could have met the expectation? AKA communicate. A job worth doing is a job worth doing right. And that goes with, if you're going to do something, do it right the first time, so you don't have to go back and do it again. If you don't have time to do it properly, when are you going to have time to do it twice? Quote. Words of my favorite millwright. We have a similar saying, do you want it done right, or right now? Cheap, fast, good. This is the service triangle. You can only pick two. I actually like, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly, along with don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. The idea is that something is better than nothing. I always get so wrapped up in the details of projects that I never end up finishing them. My professor gave me advice along those lines that really changed my perspective. Less than perfect work can be improved later and is almost always better than no work at all. Passed on from my mother. From her shrink. My mother was having trouble finishing her dissertation for her PhD. So much so that went to see a psychotherapist after working in therapy for a while and resolving many other issues in her life. She found she still wasn't making progress on her diss and asked her therapist about it. He just said, "You don't need me for that. I don't have a diploma in my desk. You finish your dissertation the same way we all did. You put glue on your ass. You sit in front of your typewriter. This was in the 80s. And you just write it?" She did. Most of getting things done is not about having ideal conditions, inspiration, or even motivation, so stop waiting for all that. Just put glue on your ass and do it. Or as my younger friends put it, stop talking about the thing and just do the thing. Asterisk, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Asterisk. Rush. This friend of mine. I've asked my boyfriend 10 times if he's going to lend me the money to help pay for my rent while I'm out of work, and he's never answered me. Oh yes, he has answered you. Removed. I remember my dad's friend told me, think of yourself as a glass of water. You can fill other people's glass and make them feel better. But if that's all you do, you'll be an empty glass, with happiness being something that you have to steal from others to get. I wrote that down the second after I heard it. So remember, every once in a while, it's okay to do something purely for yourself. Just don't hurt others in the process. Edit. THNX for gold. I wish it need not have happened in my time, said Frodo. So do I, said Gandalf. And so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. Asterisk, asterisk, all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. Asterisk, asterisk. Greater than deserves death. I dare say he does. Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment. For even the very wise cannot see all ends. Greater than Gandalf 1. Death penalty 0. Goddamn, Tolkien was a god. If you are one to feel self-conscious or have mild social anxiety, it can be helpful to remember that no one is really paying as much attention to you as you think. Anxiety, everyone's judging you. Me, chill, no one cares. Depression, ever So true. I laughed out loud and now I'm sad and need a hug. Worrying is a lot like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but doesn't get you anywhere. Edit. Obviously. Many thanks for the kind gifts, strangers. If you're not learning, you're fucked, said to me by a coworker when I confided that I felt like I still had so much to learn, and he reminded me that everyone in the company was still learning something. I can attest to this. If you feel like you've already mastered or memorized everything about your job that you could do it even when your eyes are closed, slowly, you'll get bored and eventually you'll dread clocking in at work. Edit. Whoa, thanks for my most upvoted comment. I appreciate your replies. D. My speech coach in high school was a real Gordon Ramsay-style hardass. I never knew what would set him off. But after chewing my ass particularly hard one week during an atrocious practice, he said, "I'm not hard on you because I hate you. I'm hard on you because I know your potential. If I thought you couldn't do any better, I'd tell you to go home." Our team won state several years in a row along with occasional national championships due to his uncompromising style. I had someone very similar for a debate coach. The type that really drives you to perform, but has the personality of a lobster more often than not. Rest in peace, Mr. Paul Delph. It is better to remain silent and be presumed a fool than to speak up and remove all doubt. Also, never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. You are who you hang out with. Basically, be careful who you become friends with. Just because someone is nice to you and wants to be your friend, doesn't always mean they are worthy of friendship. There is such a thing as people that are a bad influence, particularly if you are a very trusting and optimistic person. This is even more important. I have one friend in particular that has royally fucked up her life because she started hanging out with sketchy people and eventually developed their bad habits. My dad always said, if you hang around with shit you're going to start to smell like shit. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born, and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. Mark Twain. If you have a problem that can be fixed, there is no use in worrying. If you have a problem that cannot be fixed, there is no use in worrying. Buddhist proverb. The world is a comedy to those that think, a tragedy to those that feel. Horace Walpole. We suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. It's silly to try to escape other people's faults. They are inescapable. Just try to escape your own. Marcus Aurelius. My therapist told me, we hate in others what we see in ourselves. And it's really pushed me to fix a lot of issues I have with my anger, jealousy, and just made me a better person altogether. Still living and learning though. Don't try to change people, try to understand them. Always undersell and over-deliver. Also, from my dad, never throw the first punch, but feel free to throw the rest of them. When you look at someone through rose-colored glasses, all the red flags just look like flags. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Along the same lines, procrastination is like masturbation, feels good, but you're just fucking yourself. As someone who gets overwhelmed easily and tends to procrastinate, I say these things to myself often to help stay motivated. Crocodiles are easy. They try to kill and eat you. People are harder. Sometimes they pretend to be your friend first. Steve Irwin. Do no harm, but take no shit. And, not my circus. Not my monkeys. I like them both, but the bottom one has made such an impact. I always tried to get involved and help people, but in reality I was trying to control how they did something etc. so that it was done how I would do it. Plus, it also gets me to step away from drama. Not my problem, folks. Not my circus, not my monkeys. This will really help me with my younger brothers. Thanks for that. If you worry about not being a good person, Remember that bad people don't care if they're a good person or not. This saved my life. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.